This is part 2 of adding a property to the MnSHIP application. In part 1, I added the geometry for my property and I generated an inventory number. So at this point, I want to open up that draft form that I have and complete it. So in order to do that, I need to go to Manage Forms. Manage Forms contains all of the forms, regardless of draft status, that your organization has added to the MnSHIP application. So you need to find the form that you'd like to edit and click the number here. When I do that, it opens up the map showing the geometry that I've already added. Now you'll notice there's no way for me to edit the geometry because I'm stuck with what I've already entered. All these spatial attributes are still in there as well. And at this point, I can edit everything on this page here, except for the railroad company. So if I said that this was a property that was associated with the Northern Pacific Railroad, at this point, I wouldn't be able to change that to the application. Okay, I'm gonna go to the next page. When I click Save and Next, it takes me to the next page for entering information for the property. You'll notice that some of the fields have a little red asterisk by them, and that is a required field. So I'm just gonna go ahead and enter in a value for that, for the historic name. Whether something is restricted or not has to do with whether the information that'll be contained within the form itself is stuff that should not be widely distributed. So things that might make a property restricted would be if it talks about burials or human remains or archaeological sites or other culturally sensitive locations. Most properties in the MnSHIP application will not be restricted. I'll choose a survey type. I'll say that yes, this property is extant. You can add an associated report title if it's known, CLG grant number, tax credit project number, agency project number, and working project title. Now it's important when you're entering multiple properties for a particular project to make sure that the working project title is exactly the same for all of them. That'll help you out when you're in Manage Forms and you're trying to select all the properties for that particular undertaking. So be really deliberate about how you enter the working project title. Okay, the associated forms. This is one that you just start typing in inventory numbers and then it auto completes a list and then you can select within that list. You can do multiple entries. So as you click the number, you can go, you can add additional properties. I'm going to choose a property category and then the historic function and use. Once you click a category, the subcategories are the only ones that are valid for that particular category. You can add multiples by clicking this add button here. You can add another category. So in this case, the historic function of use was a defense structure that was a Coast Guard facility, and it was also a church-related residence. The same is true for the current function in use. It works the same way, where clicking a category limits what you can click on the subcategory. The architectural style is a pick list. So all the styles that are within the application are on this list. You can click multiples to populate that. Same is true for the primary exterior material. The individual or company name also has a similar pick list associated with it. So I'll choose a individual and then I'll choose a role for them. If the individual that you know is associated with this property, with the design or the building of the property is not included in the list, you can click other, and then you can enter in somebody else. And then you can also assign them a role. If there's not a role that is appropriate for this particular person, you can also put an other and then add a role. Okay, so the date constructed, you have to do a from year and a to year. If it's just 1 year, say 2008, and you know it's 2008, you can just do the from and the to need to be the same. If it's approximate, you put circa. If it's not, you don't. And then you choose a category that best describes the consequential date. Remember that the from year has to be before the to year. So the system will give you an error if I try to save it, because the to year is before the from year. Okay, adding attachments is where you can upload information that is to help supplement the database fields that you're filling out. As best practice, you want to have your attachments be in as few documents as possible, ideally one document. The application will only accept attachments that are PDFs, and they have to be less than 100 megabytes. Also, best practice is try to make sure that the documents that you upload are as compressed as possible and while still preserving the data. So don't compress to the point where you can't see photographs or imagery very well, but do compress to the point where it's efficient with the use of space. Okay, if I want to add an attachment, I click Add Attachment. I then click Choose File. I go to the location on my computer where my file is located. I'll say this is it here. Click OK. And then I can define what category that document is, and I click Add. Then it appears right here. If I don't like what I've added, I can delete it. If I want to view what I've just uploaded, I can just click it here on this list and open it up. This is what I've uploaded. If you need to add multiple attachments, you can do that by adding another attachment. There's also a thumbnail option. So if I want to add a thumbnail, click Update a Thumbnail. Much like attachments, I have to locate where that thumbnail is located on my computer. Let's say it's that one there, and I click Add, and now I've added a thumbnail. If I want to take a look at the thumbnail that I've just added, I can click this, open it up, and there it is, little tiny thumbnail of a nice little house. If I'm not happy with the thumbnail, I can delete it. If I want to add a different one, I can click Update. You can only add one thumbnail per property. You'll see here that the preparer name is something that is required, so I'll go ahead and add my name to it, organization and firm here, and then the date of the fieldwork is just a calendar pick list, so I'll say I did it yesterday. Now at this point, I can click Save. It validates everything that makes sure that the required fields are all entered and there's not any invalid values. Now at this point, if I want to create a PDF of all the form data that I've just entered, I can click Intake Data PDF. And when I do that, it creates a PDF form of the map data, the database values, and the attachments that I've uploaded. So I'll open that up here. So you'll see here that the historic inventory number is here, and then it shows me, the database fields, a map, showing me the other aspects of the other data here throughout the form. And it also appends at the end of it the document, the attachment that I uploaded. The thumbnail does not show on the PDF, but everything else does. If you want to change the way your map looks, you can go back to the previous. You can change the background to say maybe you wanted to have, I don't know, a topo map background, and maybe you wanted to, I don't know, zoom out a little bit more or something like that. So when I go Save and Next, and then I go to Intake Data PDF, it's going to create a new PDF of that data. And now the map has changed to the base map that I put in there and the zoom extant. Okay, so at this point, I could submit it, and when I submit that, then it would go to SHPO for their review for QA/QC purposes. But at this point, I'm just going to go ahead and save it.